So on Thursday during Uproar, Mindy called an altar call after she was preaching, and she was talking about parents with addictions. And so I went down there, and I stood right in the middle of the altar, and I was looking at Dustin, and then all of a sudden I just felt this overwhelming feeling of like, I felt like God's presence was with me, and I started crying and weeping. And there was a whole line of people that had addiction in their families, and Zach and Mindy, they came and prayed for me, and I was still crying because I felt like the presence of God was still with me. And then I went home, and things were still the same. And then yesterday, I came home from the internship, and my dad was, he was laying down on the couch, and he was still feeling, I guess he looked like he was mad. And we started talking, and then we stopped talking for a minute, and then out of the nowhere he said, "So Mike, where can I get what you have?" And we just kept talking, and I kept talking and telling him things, and so we prayed together. And then after that, he threw away his syringes and the spoons, and he cleaned himself up. He cleaned his room up. He cleaned the whole house up. Took a shower, and this morning he woke up with the joy of the Lord, and he started to listen to Jesus culture, and he was listening to Christian music and actually praying and feeling good about himself, and I'm just glad that he's clean. And it's only God, and I know God is real. So yeah. I grew up and my parents were in and out of jail. My mom was in and out of jail, but I knew her more because I was more conscious, because I was a baby when I was really with my father, and I don't really remember that much. But my father was in jail for a long time, and this year, 2017, is like literally the first time that I can actually remember everything and me living with him. I lived with my grandfather for about 7 years, and he passed away in 2011, suicide. He jumped off a bridge. And my mom's been in and out of jail. She's a good person, but yeah. And I lived down south for 5 years with my aunt and uncle, and they led me to Jesus. I went down there, and everything changed. Everything, like, I was introduced to Jesus, and I was on fire for him, and then I fell back and started smoking and doing drugs and popping pills and drinking and all that. And then I came to his tabernacle, and everything changed. Like, God works, like he literally worked inside, like worked through me. And this internship is helping, and it's just perfect. And I believe that God has me here for a reason.
How'd you get on the worship team?
I came the first day, and I went into the middle school room, and Pastor Cody thought I was 40 years old, thought I was an older man, but I wasn't. And he asked me if I played any instruments, and I said yeah, and I told him the instruments, and he directed me to Mackenzie, and we started talking, and she asked me, if I played any instruments and what I do musically, and I told her that I sing, and she told me to come to practice, and so I came to practice, and I started singing and getting into the worship team, and that's amazing. That's how.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or no?
God really works through this church. Really. Like, his anointing flows through this church. And I'm so glad I'm here, because without me being here and around the people that influence me, possibly I could have a child by now, or on the streets gang banging and doing the wrong things and still doing drugs and drinking, messing around with the girls. And if I would have never got into the things of God, and if I was never taught the right thing in Jesus. Yeah.
Can move mountains, keep me say.